All right, here we are, guys, back for another major here. This is the final round, first pro round that I've done. So I did kind of draw bad luck on the bracket. This account right here, it's essentially almost no chance against this account. I'm assuming, you can see this guy's essentially just staying in pro intentionally at this point, which is, one of those silly things that I don't recommend. Players who do this, they're never going to be able to win Apocalypse. So, best that I could say is, it's just kind of unlucky. And what I'll try to do next time is essentially just avoid logging in around this same time in the morning that I logged in this morning. So I'll just try to log in a little bit later and avoid accounts like this. It's very uncommon. So best case scenario, I'm going to be playing for second place. And I'd imagine, putting up a minus 26 will kind of at least give me the potential to maybe shoot for second. And there's probably no other way that I'll be able to get, a first place in this bracket. So with that in mind, we're just going to focus on top 10s. Even with a top 10, we're going to progress this account, and you'll see I'll get 30 and 18. The 18 will almost cover my Titans, not quite. And the 30 will essentially just give me 30 new Kingmakers that I wouldn't have otherwise had. So it'll still be progress. We can work on upgrading the clubs and go from there. The only other thing that you're going to see is I did get in those gold chests that I got. One of them unlocked. It had like 11 or 12 Guardian cards. So you'll see the Guardian is up a level, which is going to change my ring numbers a little bit. So instead of 2.0 per ring at max, it's going to come down to about 1.7 at max. So keep that in mind. And hope you guys are looking forward to seeing the weekend round coming up. All right, so here we are. In case I didn't show this, this is where we left off last time. So you can see that. You can see we drew a pretty good wind here. So I'm going to try to land right around here with some curl, very similar to what I've been doing. And I'm assuming, at least 5 or 6 rings over here, as you can see. Want to kind of ensure that I get it onto the fairway, and you can see with what I'm doing with my curl as well and how much overpower. Just trying to, for the most part, try to stay a little bit conservative and just back off from max, just to try to focus on that precision, make sure that I get that perfect ball. And didn't get the best rollout, but we should give ourselves a good chance for eagle from there. All right, so this is definitely a solid opportunity and something that we would ideally like to take advantage of. What I'd like to do is kind of stay off this fairway. You can see how it's kind of all over the place. So probably going to just try to maybe get this dialed up and just creep onto the fringe here. You can see with what the ball guide does, if it does land onto the fringe. I'm going to try right around here with maybe just a little bit of side spin. Thinking of landing right up in here. To get it to land up there, we're going to do maybe about 2.3 per ring. So somewhere right around here. And let's just see how this plays out. Looks good so far. And sure enough, there it is. Going to be a solid start, and should help my opponent as well, because my opponent did a great ball theirs and go into the sand. So that should at least ensure my opponent gets a birdie there. So definitely off to a good start, which is a good thing. All right, here we are. So tough starting hole. My ring number is going to change. I am going to still use max, but I need to kind of change the way that I play the rings. So you'll see maybe around here on the backspin, if I can land, and you can see the wind effect that I'm also playing somewhere right in here. And we are going to be pulling towards max here. So ideally, I'm thinking at least a ring beyond max for the extra downhill nature of this. So maybe about 4 rings here. Very close to the max distance line as well. You can also see that I'm playing the wind effect. Starting out to the left, and still not enough. So it is very, very challenging shot, especially with the limited guide. And, you know, that wind effect at max club is very, very tricky for a downhill shot. All right, here we are. I'll try to play this safe rather than sorry. So up here towards the front. Thinking right around here. 3 rings. Was able to get my perfect. So just want to make sure, you know, foremost that we do stay in the fairway, and that looks pretty good. And we should be good enough that should be able to give yourself at least a chance at the albatross, and we'll see if we can get this one. All right, so let's see what we got here. I'm thinking somewhere around 2 backspin, 2 to 3 backspin. So you can see, you know, I'm thinking somewhere up here that I need to land. So we'll just pretend that I already went at least 2 or 3 rings up there. Just a little bit more. Somewhere up in here. So 2 or 3 rings already, and we're only going to go maybe 4 total. So right in here. Got my perfect ball. Looks like it's going to come in just a bit too right. A very tricky shot, especially at the max line, but it's a hard shot either way. It's very hard to get a very nice, consistent rollout with that tailwind. All right, here we are. And we have a new ring adjustment that we need to go for this hole. I'm going to stick to about 6.5 on the backspin. It was about here. Let's see with what my ball guide offset looks like as well. So somewhere around that looked like it's coming in still too hot. Well, let's stick with it, see what it looks like. Thinking somewhere around 4 rings here. It shouldn't be coming in that fast. Sure enough, it was still coming in hot, but it third hop right onto the hole, and we are off to a really good start. So this is very good for pro, because I wasn't expecting to be able to get up to that 14, 15 under mark, but I'm already on pace for 14 now with just 2 makes. All I have to do is avoid the mistakes. All right, here you can see very small wind. So I'm going to be able to get just a little bit more aggressive on this. Try to make sure that it stays just a little bit left. And I am going to, as you can see, kind of power this up a little bit more than usual, because the wind is almost as tiny as it could ever be. And I want to make sure that I don't get into that kind of odd distance. I want to make sure that hopefully I can still go max backbone and give this a good chance. All right, here we are. Now, I've been going pretty close to 1 per ring, which seems pretty good here. Almost 3 backspin. So that's where I'm going to be. And I'm thinking somewhere maybe right around here, just a little bit offset. I do expect it to kind of bounce over to the left just a little bit. Pretty close to 1 per ring. So maybe almost 6 rings. We're not quite at max, so I might not quite go just as much as I would typically go if I would be at the max line. But let's see how this comes in. So just barely off, but a very good opportunity, as you can see, and unfortunate that I wasn't able to get that one because that's one of my best opportunities. That and 7 are about, the best good chances here for me to add another stroke on this side. All right, here we are. And all I'm going to try to do is focus on perfect ball here. Be very methodical. Trying to, just kind of estimate with the wind angle up basically where I'm going to land. And aside from that, just try to focus on perfects. So it looks like I did catch a great ball. I'm trying to keep it just a little bit short. We'll see if I can keep it short enough to catch the fairway. It looks like, oh no, so just in the rough, and may end up costing me. We'll see what I can do. See if I can get out of this trouble. So you can see how critical that perfect ball is on this hole. All right, so let's see what we can do. Looks like we're going to have to essentially shoot for layup, kind of intentionally. So I'm thinking somewhere up in here, and maybe just shoot for perfect ball more so than anything. Very close to perfect. So sure enough, there it is. And just trying to get it up here to give ourselves a straight-ish downwind pitch, and hopefully we're able to still hole out for eagle. All right, so here we are, especially with perfect ball, you'll see we got a very nice angle here into the pin. I'm pretty close to mid-club, so I'm thinking maybe 3.5-ish per ring. I'll try to stay around here. It seems to be just a little bit more flat, so won't use as much backspin as I typically may, because I just think that this area that I'm landing right around here seems to be maybe just a little bit more consistent. And I'm thinking 3 some per ring, so very small ring adjustment. Oh no, it did catch a great ball, so it is gonna definitely slide out over towards the edge. It looks like it was almost too much ring adjustment anyway, so I had to forfeit a stroke because of that, just inching the rough. And you can see how critical perfect ball is going to be, especially with these early clubs. If I would have just had one more level, I would have been able to have that. All right, so here we are, hole number 7. We did forfeit a stroke on the last hole, so we got to find a way to make up for that. Now, I did just get an upgrade to quarterback 7, which is going to give me about 7 extra yards. So that little bit of extra distance will come in handy, and I probably just back off a little bit because of it. So you'll see that not going to try to do too much here, and just curl this around, get this in play, and hopefully we can get this eagle to drop and get that stroke back that we just gave. All right, so we did get a nasty wind here. Not too looking forward to this. I'm going to play this right around very similar to what I've been doing, about 4.5 on the backspin. So you can see maybe just a little bit ball guide offset as well. Other than this, I'm thinking somewhere in the neighborhood of 2 per ring for the ring adjustment. My accuracy is different than what it used to be, so I'm thinking somewhere around maybe here. So let's just try that. Very close to min club on the adjustment. I got my perfect ball, and let's see if I can get this going towards the hole, and just a hair under on the adjustment. So unlucky there. Not going to be able to get this one, and we're just going to have to keep on plugging away and try to hole out when we can. All right, here we are. Should have just a little bit different ring adjustment than we had in the past. So I'm going to try to land right around here, which should keep in mind some of this wind effect. So somewhere right in here. And I'm thinking, I typically might go very close to 4 in the past. I'm going to go maybe 4.5 rings with this new wind, and let's just see how that works. So we do have different accuracy now. It might be just a little bit too much on the ring adjustment. It looks like it landed just a little bit short. I put as much topspin as I could. And, you know, it's probably going to play just a little bit closer to maybe 1.3-ish per ring there. I'm thinking right on 4 rings would have probably been spot up. All right, here we are. We have new distance, which should help us here. You can see up here towards max, it's now into the fairway. So, which that'll allow me to do is go less power. So with that in mind, we are just going to kind of gracefully power this. Nothing as much as I used to do. And hopefully we can just get this a little bit farther than we would have been able to do. Much easier to get this up into play, which is going to give me a good chance here. All right, here we are. So first thing that I'm going to do is take a look. I won't be able to go max, but I do want to get it up here to where the third bounce is, you know, somewhere up in here. So we are going to use our max plus a little bit extra. So I'm thinking somewhere around here. I might usually go just a little bit more than 3 rings. Other than this, we're just going to pull straight forward. So somewhere right around this. And distance-wise, we'll just make sure that we get into some power. So great ball to the left. It's going to definitely have that blocking a little bit. But nevertheless, should at least secure the eagle with that shot. All right, here we are. Thinking somewhere around 4 backspin, give or take. Somewhere right around here. Looks pretty good. Ball guide offset. Typically I might go 4 rings. I'm going to go at least 5. I'm thinking almost 5.5. I've been missing consistently left. I'm going to go at least 5.5, 5.9 almost, 5.8. Been consistently right. It looks like it's just checking up. So it was almost a distance thing. It needed to hit on that green and it landed on the fringe, which cost me the chance there. All right, with the new distance that I got on this club, we're going to try this a little bit different, just to try to be safe. Rather be safe than sorry. So I'm going to try to land up near this edge. So with that being said, you know, I'll go relatively high on the power with just a little bit of curl and stay away from this edge here. So we're just trying to, hopefully, with the precision, just try to keep it out of the rough here as kind of the primary concern. And that's why going with the quarterback, because I did throw away a shot on 6. So with the extra distance that I have with QB7, just going to play a couple of these holes different. I may even play 6 differently and see if I can't get QB to make sure that I do not make that same mistake. Right, here we are. It's funny enough, I actually drove it past extra mile as well, which is actually kind of a funny thing to note here. So I am going to try right around 3 on the backspin. You can see with where I'm trying to land, and I'm hopefully going to get this to run out towards the hole, give myself a good potential opportunity here. So I'm thinking somewhere around here with the wind effect in play. Close to max is almost going to be just a little bit under 4 rings. So here's where I'm going to go. Got my perfect. It'd be nice to get this one. Doesn't look like it's meant to be though. Very tough to do with no ball guide. I'm just trying to do the best that I can and avoid the mistakes. All right, similar technique here to what you saw me do on the front. I'm going to go maybe just a little bit more on the backspin, but you can see with where my ball guide offset is, it might be just a little bit heavy. Almost going to go 7 rings as well. So right in here, 7 backspin because it did come in just a bit too hot last time. So you can see with where I'm trying to land. Last time I went about 4 rings. I'm going to try to stick to a little bit less than that this time. So right around here because the wind's less. So let's see what this is. Oh! So I definitely threw away an opportunity there with the great ball. Would have been a hard make anyway, but you never know. Might have been able to get it there. All right, here we are. So you can see with where this is going to go, I'm going to just try to get it somewhere up there. I do have new power numbers, so I will be just a little bit careful to not go too much power here. A little bit less than usual because I have an extra 7 yards that I didn't have last time I played this hole. So you can see I should get it up there about the same, and hopefully we can pop this in. This is probably my best opportunity other than hole 7. All right, let's see what we got. We know towards max, it's going to play pretty close to 1 per. Wow. So I got pretty much the worst wind I could get. Not happy about that. Could only be as high as 7.5, and it's 7.4 out of 7.5. So you can see with the ball guide offset where I'm aiming. Again, I'm not close enough to max that I want to use that full max adjustment. So I am going to pull just a tiny bit under. So how much under, I'm not sure. That's about 7.1. You can also see that it's starting to get kind of to low ground, which may influence the shot as well. But let's see, hopefully I can get this going towards the hole. And sure enough, there it is. All right, here we are. I didn't set my bag up the way that I wanted, so we're going to have to go extra mile now, which is a little bit unfortunate. I am going to kind of stick to this max line here as my distance and just try to control the way that this ball flies. Great ball off to the left this time. So hopefully that'll be okay. Sure enough, it is. So we should be good this go round. All right, here we are. We're going to try to just dial this in and just make sure that we secure the eagle this time, especially with the mistake from last time. So you can see with how I'm going to be playing it, kind of up here. Maybe with some decent amount of curl. Thinking right around 5 rings here. Close to this. Decent amount of curl, as I mentioned. Didn't want that great ball, but it shouldn't be a deal breaker. Just want to get it anywhere up here by the green and not in the rough. Should be an easy eagle from there. All right, here we are. Should be straightforward, easy dunk, even with the 7.5, which is the absolute largest wind. So you can see with where I'm aiming, I'm a little bit short in the cup, which I'm not worried about. I'm just going to make sure that my power is deep. So you'll make sure that you don't short hit, especially when you're on the front of the cup there. All right, here we are. Should be new distance number. I remember backing off the power last time. I'm going to land on the left-hand side of the fairway. Just a fraction of power here, very little, especially with the new +7 yards. Should be more than enough. All we need to do is get it up here, not too long, so that way we still have enough for a min club wood shot. All right, here we are. You can see where the min line is. We're going to try to land up here towards max a bit. And very similar to the strategy I've been doing. Just a little bit on the short side of 5 rings. You can see with my wind effect where I'm playing this. I'm thinking 2-ish per, somewhere in that vicinity. So just a little bit more than 3 rings. Right here. Perfect ball. One time. You guys got to give it to me. I need it. And it looks like just a little bit light again. So unfortunately not able to get this second hole on either of my weekends, and I got it both times opener. Very frustrating when that happened. All right, so you can see I have a Guardian 4 now, which doesn't change my accuracy. It gives me a little bit extra topspin. So I'm going to use at least a little bit of that just to hopefully make sure that I maybe get it to the hole. Aside from that, you can see with what I'm doing with my ball guide, kind of setting it. I'd like to get up here, and I'm thinking 1.3-ish per ring, very similar to what I did last time, maybe right here for my ring adjustment. And hopefully, sure enough, there's perfect. It'd be wonderful if this would somehow find the cup, but it looks maybe just a little bit left. Sure enough, dang. So I really could have used that. Hopefully I can get 18. Right, here we are, last hole. We're going to need to try to hold this one. So you can see with, the extra distance that I have, I'm going to try to play this maybe about six-ish rings up. Just a little bit of overpower. Not as much as I used to go. So sure enough, there's a great ball. But hopefully, oh no! So I'm in the rough. It may end up costing me my tournament with that rough shot there. Right, so here we are. I do think that I can maybe squeak this to the last fairway up there. So probably going to just try to roll it up in there. Maybe about here, with about half power. Trying to force the issue a little bit. I do think, getting to that other fairway is going to have its advantage. So you can see that I'm going to try to get just a little bit more aggressive to hopefully secure this eagle. I really need it. I did not expect for that ball to go in the rough. A big, huge mistake here. All right, so I really needed the eagle. I would have liked to have been shooting for an albatross on this hole. Max club here is going to be about probably 2.5-ish per ring. I may need to go just a little bit more for the wind effect here. So I'm thinking of landing somewhere around here, and with a little bit of run out, as I mentioned, maybe 2.5 per ring right here, but I need to go a little bit extra for wind effect. I'm thinking somewhere maybe right around here. Got my perfect. It would be really great if this could fall. And sure enough, just a little bit light on the adjustment. It's going to end up costing me a stroke. I'm going to fall down the leaderboard, but hopefully, you know, I'm assuming I'm still good for a top 10, but I pretty much just probably took myself to maybe 4th or 5th place, and it's going to be a lot lower, maybe like 8th or 9th now. All right, so here we are. I'm at 25. I would have been up to 2nd place. I had these guys tiebreakered. Throwing away that last stroke on 18 was not good. So that and 5 specifically are really going to cost me. I would have potentially been, or not 5, but 6 on the front. So you can see I missed 2 par 5 eagles, and missing 18 was huge. You know, all I needed to do was get that ball in the fairway. Great ball to the left. I thought I had enough power to clear that rough, and it just wasn't quite enough. And the great ball ended up costing me. But you can see with what we're looking at, you know, as long as we secure a top 10, which I'm assuming we probably will anyway, but we're just going to end up a little bit farther. I gave myself a chance, you know, without those 2 bogeys, I think I would have, you know, I would have definitely bannered. I would have probably actually held on with 27. I didn't expect to have the opportunity to make that many shots, especially with my limited clubs. But as long as we can hold a top 10 and make sure that we get those 30-18, you know, I'm cool with that. As long as we get that 30-18, you can see card-wise, you know, that's definitely going to help, you know, especially if you get things like Rock or Guardian, you know, the farther that you can progress those, the better. I'm assuming, you know, for the first time in pro, if I would have got a little bit better bracket, I would have put myself in a chance to win, especially with a 27. But if you caught the front end of this, I basically, you know, timed it wrong to where, you know, I'm in pro. The highest division I've ever gone to is Pro 1. And, you know, there's a guy in my division that's, you know, totally sandbagging, probably has at least a Thor 6, probably a Thor 7, and he's never gone beyond professional league, which is just absurd, to just, you know, sit on an account and not. So, you know, what I try to do is I try to progress from rookie to pro to expert as soon as possible, because you can't win Cat, you can't win Apocalypse. You essentially are playing for nothing. There's no point of playing this game if you're just going to be shooting for Tour 6 clubs as kind of your ultimate rewards plus balls. So to sit in pro, like, what's the purpose of just playing in pro if you can progress farther? Even if you get, you know, a top 25, you'll kind of break even in balls. Plus, you'll get that chance to get that Apocalypse in your chest. You know, and 10, 20 cards at a time, you'll be up to a 5, you know, in a reasonable time frame. It may take you, you know, 20, 30 tournaments, but still, I mean, if you just make that progression. However, if you just sit in rookie and pro, you're never even going to get that opportunity. The highest you can win is like Thor Hammer. So you're never going to have those tournament-ready clubs for the top tiers when you do it that way. So, you know, progression is a good thing. And as I mentioned, you know, what I'm going to do strategy-wise is all tournaments moving forward, I'll just kind of move my bracket a little bit. I'll try to log in my time just a little bit later, try to make sure that I don't get caught in, because I'm going to play probably about 2 more pro tournaments before trying to go into expert, because I still do need just a little bit of club progression, but not much. You know, I'd like to have extra mile up to a 6, ideally. And you can see I'm really just not getting extra mile cards whatsoever. You can see I'm still sitting at a extra mile 4. I'm the only guy that I had played in pro that had extra mile 4. So pretty crazy thing. But good luck out there, guys, with your rounds. Let me know how it goes, and be on the lookout for future progression with this account. Let me just go ahead and show you where I ended up here. I ended up losing 2 matches out of the 18, so you can see with where my account wound up. So, you know, just keep plugging along. Hopefully you can get some good progression, and